Hi, I'm Glenn Darcy, Vice President of Product Management for Arturia. Today I'm going to be giving you a tour of our new Buchla Music Easel V software. The purpose of this video is to show the features and functionality of the software. It's not a tour of how it sounds. If you are interested in hearing the sounds of Music Easel V, I suggest that you visit www.arturia.com and download a demo version of the software so that you can play it and try the sounds on your studio monitors. For the purpose of this video, I also suggest that you download it so that you can better follow along. The Music Easel was invented in 1972 by pioneering electronic music legend Don Buchla. Designed to be a portable live performance instrument, it came in its own briefcase. Difficult to find as it was never commercially released on a large scale, the Music Easel holds a bit of a mystical status in the synthesizer community. Only recently has the easel been re-released, and now you can actually buy one. Let's dive into the Buchla's audio flow. For those used to the typical synthesizer terms found on products like a Mini Brute or a Prophet 5, you may find the Buchla's terminology a bit foreign at first. Once you begin to understand it, however, you'll see that it's not that difficult to grasp. The main audio chain flows as such. It starts with a complex oscillator. This oscillator then feeds into the low-pass gate. From the low-pass gate, it feeds into the channel outputs, then the reverb, and then the master volume. We're going to start just with these three sections and then expand from there later in the video series. The complex oscillator is a unique beast in that it had a semi-sine wave output and a balance control that allows you to morph between this shape and a more complex waveform. Using the timbre switch, you can choose what the waveform on the right is. The wave on the left is fixed. The timbre slider below adjusts the wave shape or amount. This is part of the key sound of the Buchla. The main frequency is set using the pitch slider, and you have a fine-tune control as well. You can enable or disable the keyboard control and quantization of the pitch control. You have the ability to modulate the pitch and the timbre by patching a signal into the black jacks below. The sliders directly above these black jacks are amount controls that allow you to set how much modulation is going to pitch or timbre. We will get into the routing of modulation later. The dual low-pass gate is similar to a low-pass filter combined with a VCA. The dual part means that there's two of them. They can be set to one of three modes: low-pass filter, combination low-pass filter and VCA, or just straight VCA. You can set the initial level of the cutoff or VCA or both by raising the level 1 or 2 sliders. The Gate 2 source switch is a bit confusing at first. Once you see how it works with the output section, you will start to discover how this one switch opens up a lot of potential. The Gate 2 source chooses which signal is going to the second low-pass gate. The output of this is then routed to the channel B output. The channel A output is always coming from low-pass gate 1. This is fed directly from the complex oscillator. The sources for low-pass gate 2 can be the complex oscillator, the modulation oscillator, or the preamp. It is these routing options that hide a lot of flexibility in the sound design. You can route the output of the modulation oscillator to get a 2-oscillator sound. One thing about the channel A and B outputs is that they're out of phase with each other. So right now we're just listening to the complex oscillator. That's going out to channel B. If I pull up channel A, which is just the complex oscillator through the gate, you can hear this sound dips and goes away and then comes back. This is because of that phase output difference. We made a quick mention of the modulation oscillator earlier. The name modulation oscillator adds some confusion to what is fairly simple. It is an oscillator, very much like any other synth oscillator. You can choose 3 standard waveforms, and you can set the pitch. Like a Mini Moog's Oscillator 3, this oscillator can operate as an LFO by changing the range switch. It has a keyboard track and quantize on-off for the pitch, just like the complex oscillator does. Again, I can route the modulation oscillator directly to the output channel B using this gate 2 source switch. Part of the difference in the West Coast Buchla style and East Coast Moog style synthesis was kind of how they built their sounds. In the Bob Moog school, you basically took a sound and then you would filter down that sound. In the Buchla school, you really built the sound up. So you use wave shapers like the timbre controls, and then you'd use modulation like FM or AM modulation. This is where the modulation oscillator comes in. Here you can choose the different modulation sources that are routed through this modulation control that then go into the complex oscillator. So we can hear a couple of these. So we'll take the modulation oscillator set to FM, and then we'll modulate the frequency of the pitch of the complex oscillator. I can also set it to amplitude modulation. Sounds a little bit like ring modulation. So this makes up the whole audio path of the Music Easel. It's fairly simple when you understand it, but when you start routing things in the dual low-pass gate, you'll be discovering some of the hidden potential. In the next video, I'll take you through the main modulation and control sources.